Hey guys, today we are going to work on creating a diorama, but a diorama that pops up like a card. My daughter actually made this, and so it's flat, and then when you pop it up, you have the four different parts of the image. So you have the foreground here. She's put in a little sand dune here, another sand dune here, and then you can see the water, and then finally the sky back here. And so I was in the old art room. One day we'll get to use it again. And I saw your dioramas, and they were awesome. So I thought that this could be a fun way to work on those skills. And just in case you're looking at the calendar, Valentine's Day is a couple weeks away. So I thought we could all, as a class, do a landscape type of diorama like this, the foldable dioramas. And then if you guys wanted to, you could make your own cards, because you could do like an I love you with different letters going in the back, something along those lines. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get started. All right, so this is going to be a two-step process to creating our foldable diorama. And today's class, what we're going to do is we are going to take your ruler and you're going to measure 4.5 down by 4 across. And you're going to make a square, a rectangle that is 4 inches wide and 4.5 inches tall. And the reason we're going to do that is we are going to draft and draw a sketch of what our card is going to be. Because after that, we will then create our card. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have something in the foreground. And I'm also going to put in the parentheses the border. So then that way it's sort of like a frame in your card. So we have that piece. And then we're going to have 2 middle pieces, and then we're going to have the background, otherwise known as the sky. So then we have 2 pieces here, and this is the middle ground. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, what are you going to portray? We want something in the background that has perspective. Mountains or an ocean or a road would be several different ideas. And then if it was mountains, maybe it's hills and a close-up part, and then what can be surrounding or framing the picture. We have the palm trees and the ocean and the waves for a road. So those are the 4 different distinct parts that we need to parse out in our drawing. So let's get drawing. Okay, I just did a little brainstorming, coming up with different ideas when I was trying to think of things to go in the background for our perspective. We mentioned mountains, a road, a cityscape, beach, desert. And then I really wanted to do mountains in the background, but I wanted something that would frame the front. And so then I was like, ooh, vines or jungle. And that's when I came up with a jungle and a volcano in the background. So this is where my picture is getting a little bit busy, and that's okay because we'll be able to break it out later. So I have my volcano in the background, and I have my foreground. I have some vines right here, a bush, some flowers, and now I want to add in 2 pieces here in the into my scene. So I'm trying to draw a monkey, and right now he looks a little bit like a panda. So a panda could be pretty cute. But what would be in addition to the panda? Because I want 2 things going on in my, I want something in the far middle ground and in the close middle ground. So I think I'll put the roly-poly panda here. I think he might be looking at us here with some bamboo. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look up some, I'm gonna have him like lying down with his belly eating some bamboo, munching on some bamboo. So what could be back here? Should there be, I mentioned monkeys, maybe a parrot. I'm going to go look on the internet and find some pictures of pandas so he might not look so silly. And then I might check out a parrot. And now that I've done that, maybe I'll do a person here holding binoculars, maybe somebody, an explorer. So I'm going to work out my design a little bit more, and then once I'm happy with it, we will move on to trying to prep these different pieces. All right, I finally got my picture down pat, and so as you can see in my foreground and border, there's going to be a little guy with binoculars and a hat and some plants and vines all the way across, so I have a nice frame. In my first foreground, or the first middle ground, is going to be the panda lounging on his trunk. And then I have my parrots. And so the parrots are going to be on here. So you can already see, and this is why drafting is so important. This is going to be my first level. This is going to be my second level. And this is going to be my third level. And then I have the background. So this is going to help me make my card. And that brings me to our second sort of foray into making this. And what you're going to do is you're going to tear off a sheet of your sketchbook paper and you're going to divide it in half. And then you're going to cut it in half so you have two pieces. And then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to measure 4 inches and 4 inches. So 4, 8, and 12. And you're going to fold the 1/2 into thirds. And then you're going to take this other half and you're going to fold it and then cut it in half. And so all of a sudden, we now have the pieces of our card. We now have the background, and now we have the foreground, and then we have the middle ground. Okay, so you have taken your one sheet of paper, you've divided this into thirds, and we have these two, and now you're like, how does this become that? So there's going to be a little bit of magic involved. This is going to be the frame, so to speak, or this is going to be our landscape. So it's going to be our background and our sky. And then these guys become the foreground, the first middle ground, and the second middle ground. How do we get 3 layers with 2 pieces of paper? This is the trick. So you see here in the foreground, I only need to go about up to here. And then in this first middle ground, my panda's only about this tall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this such that I have room for my little guy with binoculars. So that's going to be my guy with my binoculars. This piece is going to be my panda. And then here, I'm going to cut off just a little for my parrot level. And that is going to get me my parrots. And then this extra can be the vines up top. So first thing is first. So now I have all of my pieces. This is going to be my front level. This is going to be my first middle ground. This is going to be my second middle ground. And this is going to be my background. So I am going to start with coloring in my foreground. So first things first, foreground, then this guy, then that guy, then that guy. Okay. So one thing you need to know before you start drawing is you need to know how wide your front is supposed to be. So you have your measured square. So my tab is longer than my square. So I'm going to bend it such that it's as long as my middle. So now you can see how we're going to end up putting this together. This will be at the front of my collapsible card. See? So you should do that with all of your different pieces. So I'm gonna fold it, and I am gonna fold it such that it's just the littlest bit wider. So if you have to fold it right on the line, fold it on the outside of the line. So here are my two foreground pieces. This is my panda piece. Him, and then this is my parrot piece. So you can see I folded that a little bit too far away, so now I'm going to slide it over so it lines up. Now I'm going to line it back up. So now I have where I should actually be drawing. Now I can start drawing, and then so I can draw my foreground piece here. Okay guys, so I have worked on my foreground right here, one of my middle grounds, my second middle ground, and my distant landscape. And then I did a little bit of coloring on the sides, but you can see how it's starting to come together as a picture. So I think this is a good stopping point right now. Please, by all means, if you have some extra time and you're all finished, a really neat thing to do would be to draw pictures on both of these sides, all four of these sides. I am probably going to take some crayons and maybe soften this up a little bit, so then that way it's maybe not so crazy looking. And we will be back next week to cut and assemble and perfect our collapsible diorama. I can't wait to see the final product. See you next week.